Okay, so welcome to my first work in progress, I guess, of my Unicorn Gundam bust, and this is a Mr. R kit, and well, I've already done a review on this, so if you want to know a little bit more, then I'll put a link down in the description for you guys to have a look at. But basically, this is a 1:35 scale model, as you see right there. And it's just basically of the head and the sort of well, just a little bit of a stand really, so it's just a display bust basically. But what's interesting with this one is it's a 1:35 scale, so it's a bit bigger than your average model, and being a resin kit, then you tend to have a fair bit of detail, with the various internal openings and hatches and whatnot. So it's just the hallmark of a resin kit. So, and yeah, what's interesting with this one is you're going to get a conversion for both the Unicorn and the Destroy mode faceplates, and as well as, of course, the horn actually flips open as well, so you can do both modes. So alright, so basically, actually, the manual, there's not that many pieces. If you want to have a look at all the pieces in detail, then be sure to have a look at the review, but you'll be able to see now. But basically, there's 4 distinct sections that we're going to be going through. So first of all, this area here, we're talking about making the base of the head, so it's basically the neck area, and then it goes on to the actual head itself. Then you've got another section here which is basically the V-fin and the faceplates, and then lastly you've actually got these, well, you don't get instructions on how to build a stand, but it is there. So that's basically the 4 steps that we're taking. So if you look at the box, first bit that we've got going on here is this bit, which is the body, the upper section of the body, the collar, and just some details. And then here I've got the white parts here are actually all for the head. There's quite a few clear parts as well for the internal details, and this last bag here, which we won't get onto the very end, is a stand. So fair few pieces there for that, and this actually breaks apart, which is quite interesting. So we'll see what the deal is when we come to it. And what I've done here is, you might have seen in one of my other tutorials, I tend to separate things out. So I know these are all the pieces I'm going to need for this first section right here. So basically I do things in little stages and break it up, so it's not all all big daunting tasks. So section 1 here, I've got all the parts I need, and I've got them separated out into this bag, and we'll just get started. And before I get into too much detail, I suppose, we'll go along and show you some of these parts as we go along. And I know this is actually I should keep the manual open so you guys can see. So I know that the first part we're going to be using is going to be this part here, and I'll just show you in a little bit more detail really. So this is the difference between a resin kit and a normal sort of plastic kit. So lots of detail, all in one piece. You're going to have to paint it, and you're going to have to tidy it up. So it's just one of those things. And the first stage that a lot of people do is clean their resin kits. So I can't be bothered to do that right now. What I'm going to do is just clean all the parts up first, just by taking the nubs off basically. I don't know if you can see, but with resin kits you get these massive chunks like the gates that you would get in a plastic kit. Basically it's just the way they pour the resin in, and they've got to snap it off somehow from the mould, and that's what they do. So I just clean all these off as close as I can before all the sanding and all that, and I sort of clean the parts afterwards, so because, well, basically the parts get dirty anyway, so if you clean them first, so that's just one of the things I do. Okay, for this cleaning first section of clean-up process, then it's quite basic. You're not going to need very many tools. One is this. This is what I use for the majority of the work. So these are just your standard side cutters, clippers, whatever you call them. And you know, it's just going to be a case of trimming these parts off. So I'll show you that in just a bit. And then secondly, just the just a cheap you know, blade to get a few, just to shave a few parts off if you need to. And with these ones, I like using these cheap ones because these you can just snap off the blades. So you know, you can be quite frivolous with it. You can just, you know, as soon as you sense it being dull, you just snap it off and you've got another blade. And you know, that's the type that I prefer. So yeah, we'll just get started really. So I'll zoom in a little bit for this. So you'll see with parts like this, you do get some really big numbers. I mean, this is all, this is all basically one great big nub that's sticking out here. So we need to get rid of that. And the problem I find is that sometimes these are too big to actually do in one go. And if you don't quite get it right, then you know you're going to cause some stress marks, and it might snap off without a clean cut and actually break into the model part, which is not what you want. So in this case, what we're going to do is just angle the camera down a little bit. Sorry. In this case, what we're going to do is cut in at an angle. So I've already sort of done it a little bit here, but if I show you with this piece, then we'll do it like that. So we've got a bit of an angle going on here. Sorry, let me just find the middle of the camera. And we just basically trim it off like that. So you can see it comes off pretty cleanly. And don't forget, the only reason I'm doing this is because my my cutters won't actually do the whole thing in one go. But we're just going to do it like this so we don't stress and snap off parts that we don't actually want. And then eventually you can get to the end where you can actually do it and cut off to the side, trim close to the side, which is what you actually want. So there, you're going to get it to that kind of level, which is basically pretty damn close. And that is close enough now to either start shaving off a little bit, start shaving off a little bit as close as you can, or as close as you dare rather, and then get the old sander out. But I don't bother getting the sanding these flush until much later really. So I leave them like this and I'll move on to the next part, and it's a bit of a batch process really. So again, with this one you'll see another massive nut mark here, and this piece is really thick. Yeah, it's really thick, you can see. So much thicker than you get in the plastic model kit. So again, what we're going to do, get the girl clippers, and I'm going to go in at an angle again because I do not want to cut into this part or have the part break off and cut in. So we're going to go sort of like that. I don't know if you can see very well. We're going to go in like that and just take little pieces off bit by bit. So like that. And then we're going to go in from the other side. So now we're left with a sort of triangle shaped nub like that, and then we can do one final cut to actually get to the bit we need. Alright, so there we go, and that is, it's not very tidy, but it's basically sticking out enough for us to be able to sand it flush. And that's it really. I'm just going to carry on and we'll see how far we get with this.